So, when you think of Star Wars, of course you think of Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and that group. And for the most part, for me personally, Luke was obviously the first character I knew of as well. And up until probably my maybe early to mid 20s, Luke had been still the favorite. But that's because I really didn't take the time to really invest in Star Wars. I had like a broad knowledge of it. Now, ever since probably maybe 5 or 6 years ago, my favorite characters in the series have changed. And I say characters for a reason because I went back and watched Star Wars from the beginning. Like, literally, I watched the prequels, the main trilogy, and then I think maybe a movie in the sequel trilogy. But I did that for the purpose of making sure I could watch Clone Wars and know the Clone Wars series and know exactly what was going on. Now, I bring all that up to say my favorite characters in Star Wars now are Ahsoka Tano and Obi-Wan Kenobi. As you can probably tell from my avatar, there's a bit, and my name actually, Obi-Wan, there's a bit of Obi-Wan influence there because it's definitely Ewan McGregor's performance as Obi-Wan that had a big impact on that. So again, the name Obi-Wan is a combination of Obi-Wan and actually Gohan from Dragon Ball, because that's one of my favorite anime characters, and that's how you get Obi-Wan. But that's off topic. So between Ewan McGregor's performance as Obi-Wan and seeing Ahsoka Tano grow in the Clone Wars, both of those two became basically my favorite Jedi. They were really the driving force of me really getting into Star Wars, like as in actually paying attention and really understanding the lore. And again, Luke Skywalker, he'll always be, the face. Well, he'll be the face for most people. I mean, the sequel trilogy kind of did a number on him, but for the most part, Luke Skywalker will always be like the face between him and Darth Vader of Star Wars. But again, for me, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka is like maybe their personalities, maybe because they're not like overpowered, maybe because the focus isn't just like solely on them per se, not they're not like this chosen one. They're just two Jedi who made their way in the time that they were in. So I guess I went on that whole speech to say, obviously you clicked on the video, this is a review of Ahsoka, because Ahsoka just started. Well, yeah, it just started on Disney Plus. I'm reviewing it a few days later, that's why I had to pause for a little bit. But yeah, and I had to gather my thoughts to make this review, because first of all, it was a 2-episode, 2-hour-long premiere, so it was essentially a movie, and there was a lot going on in this episode, and I'm not going to take up a lot of time trying to explain every tidbit, because to be honest, I can't remember every single piece of information in that episode. There was so much going on, and that's not to say that there was a lot of action, but it wasn't like a drag from just a whole bunch of talking either. Like I said, there was a lot just to get between the action and the dialogue. So I also want to start off by saying that obviously Rosario Dawson is playing Ahsoka. We saw her for the first time playing Ahsoka in The Mandalorian. I had to think about it. In The Mandalorian. And there was a fan campaign for her to be Ahsoka for a while before that, and I was definitely on board with that. And of course, she didn't disappoint. Like, if you're talking about a adult veteran seeing some stuff, Ahsoka, Rosario Dawson nails it. And I've seen a lot of criticism of her portrayal of Ahsoka in these first 2 episodes. There's some people saying that I've seen the word stoic thrown around a lot when it comes to her and a few of the other female characters on here, but I'm only going to focus on her for a second, because if you're going to say that, I've seen the comparisons said that she's not what she was like in Clone Wars, and in Clone Wars, young Ahsoka was very snarky. She was kind of joking around all the time, really high spirited. But what you have to understand about this Ahsoka in this series is that not only did she go through the Clone Wars, and she went through a whole war, you gotta remember that, but she survived Order 66, and then after surviving Order 66 and being on the run and helping people all the while and doing things here and there as Fulcrum, she pops up in Rebels and has to go head to head with her former master in Darth Vader, who basically ends up trying to kill her anyway. So you think about all that stuff combined, and it's like, to see her now as this stoic, kind of no nonsense character is like, it makes sense. Look at what she's been through. You can't expect her to be the jokey, snarky Padawan that she was back in the Clone Wars. It wouldn't make sense. She's been through too much. Not to mention the fact that she's a full-grown woman who's probably, I don't know how her species ages, but I would assume she's got to be, heck, probably Rosario Dawson's real age at this point. So she's kind of grown past the snarky, jokey, happy-go-lucky spirit. She's very much so a Jedi Master now, even though she had walked away from the Jedi. So I guess that's my little tidbit on the idea that she's not the Ahsoka of the past. It's like, she's there, and even in this show so far, she's had a little jokey moment, just like a slight joke, a little smart joke, but again, she's not gonna be the same Ahsoka from back then. Like, people are gonna have to kind of understand that. Like, think about it, what she has went through up to this point. But that rant aside, let me go ahead and get to the episode, because that's what this video is about. It's pretty much as we kind of expected it to be, which is the series is ultimately about finding Ezra Bridger, and for the bad guys, it's about finding General Thrawn, Admiral Thrawn. But yeah, so there's this group, or I say group, it's 2 or 3 Jedi. I think I thought they were Sith, but they're not really named Sith. They're I guess dark Jedi now, the Jedi who have turned their back from the Jedi ways, but they're not really Sith. They don't. Ahsoka doesn't call them Sith, and so that's what I'm going with right now. But they are looking for this map, or they have this map that they need to get their hands on to figure out this location of where Thrawn might be. Ahsoka initially gets the map in the beginning of the first episode, and she can't decipher it, or she can't unlock it, because it's like this puzzle to it. So she goes and finds Sabine Wren, who we find out is, or was rather, her Padawan in between the times of Star Wars Rebels and this show. So I don't know how much you all know about Star Wars Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels, but it would help to have watched both of those shows before going into this one, because I'm saying names like Sabine Wren, Ezra Bridger, Hera, those characters, they're all from Rebels. And I've seen a lot of people say that this show is essentially Star Wars Rebels 2. And for me personally, I'm going to just say we'll wait to see a few more episodes to see if that's actually the case. But anyway, there's some beef between Ahsoka and Sabine. We don't know per se what it is. We just know that she's not her Padawan anymore, and they don't really speak too much. But Ahsoka needs her help, and so the best way she can find to help her is to tell her that the device or unlocking the puzzle will be a key to them finding Ezra Bridger, which again, that gets Sabine to go ahead and crack it open. Now, in the process of her unlocking it, she is attacked by the Dark Jedi, which, by the way, Ahsoka had told her to stay near her so she could work on the puzzle. But I'm sure Ahsoka wanted her to stay near so she could be safe. But she she left anyway and went back to her house and unlocked it. But as I said, she was attacked. Obviously, she couldn't defend herself. Well, that's not fair. She defended herself all right, but she wasn't strong enough to win. So she ends up getting stabbed, and Ahsoka kind of pops up to save her at the last second. The next episode, she gets her to the hospital, and Ahsoka is kind of frustrated because she's like, well, we had the map, and if she had to deal, she was told, then we would be okay. But now we got to find these other methods to get the information we want. So episode 2 is just like it's really a episode full of, now that one's full of talking, because Ahsoka and Hera go to, I keep calling her Hera, I'm sorry. Ahsoka and Hera go to this planet. I cannot think of the name of the planet right now, and they're going to investigate one of the droids that attacked Sabine. They were able to track it to that planet. So they talk to this guy, and he's talking about how they are not in cahoots with the Republic, I think. That's one thing about Star Wars. I still struggle to remember the names of all these factions and everything. But basically, they're not the bad guys. But we end up finding out that a few of them are actually bad guys, including the guy who was giving them this tour. And they end up getting attacked by another one of the Dark Jedi. So Ahsoka takes on this Dark Jedi while Hera chases down this ship that they need. That's has something on it that'll help them in their quest. And I'm kind of just giving y'all bare information because, again, this is like a freaking movie. I would have had to taken notes, but I didn't have the time to take notes at the time, so I'm just giving you like a general review. The next few videos covering the next episodes will be more detailed than this. But yeah, so Hera gets a tracker on the ship. Ahsoka has this really cool lightsaber fight against this guy, and they end up getting away, of course. Now, meanwhile, while this is going on, Sabine finally kind of gathers herself, and she's like, okay, well, I need to get it together because I'm going to have to help Ahsoka, which means I'm going to have to get back into Padawan mode and be prepared for my training. So she calls Ahsoka back. They see each other face to face in front of the mural. If you saw the mural at the end of Star Wars Rebels, that's where she's standing, and it's almost like a carbon copy of the scene, that last scene in Rebels, where Sabine is standing there and then Ahsoka comes from behind her, and Ahsoka has the hood on and everything. They look at each other, and that's pretty much how the episode goes off. Again, they pretty much copied that perfectly. And so now we're back to Ahsoka and Sabine going on this mission to, I guess, locate the map, or at least locate that tracker to get them to where to the map, because I believe they're looking for the Dark Jedi who took it. So again, that's just like a really quick, simple review of the 2-part episode. Again, it was a lot going on, a whole lot, and I might, as the episodes go on, like I said, I'll be more detailed. I'll probably take a few more notes, because reviewing something for Star Wars is like a whole nother ball game compared to me reviewing Superman or Spider-Man or whatever, because there's so much stuff going on in Star Wars that you really have to hone in and pay attention to it. But ultimately, I would say that the first 2 episodes were really good. Yeah, I know some people were mixed on it, again, talking about stoicism and all that. But it's the first 2 episodes, and again, to be honest, I love seeing Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I said earlier, I love Ahsoka as a character. So just seeing Ahsoka in action is something that I've been excited for since they even announced that this would be a show. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Ahsoka going forward throughout the series. I like the idea of her having a Padawan, because when we first met Ahsoka, she was a Padawan, much like Anakin and Luke, I guess. But it's a different situation, okay? Because they're not they're Skywalker. She's not a Skywalker. And it also, while I'm thinking about it, one of the other reasons I like Ahsoka is because you look at Ahsoka, she was trained by Anakin, and I guess trained a little bit by Obi-Wan, and maybe some tutelage by Yoda too. So you look at Ahsoka in these fights and everything that she gets in, and it's like you almost, especially now, you don't feel quite as worried. In fact, you're almost excited to see what she does, because you think about the people who trained Ahsoka and the years of experience she has. Ahsoka, if you really think about it, is probably one of the most skilled and powerful Jedi in the history of Star Wars. Like, just think about it. Just think about the people who taught her and the experiences that she's went through. So, again, it's always fun to see her fight now. But, yeah, I enjoyed the first 2 episodes. I hope you all, if you hadn't seen it, I hope you give it a chance and kind of form your own opinion on it. But I will be doing reviews for the rest of the season, so be looking for those. And look, let me know if you have watched the episode. Drop a comment down below to let me know what you thought about it, because again, there's a lot of mixed opinions, and I'm curious to know what you all think. But yeah, look, hit that like button if you like what you saw today. Like I said, drop a comment, hit that subscribe button, please, and remember, we have the high ground. Catch you later.